At a morgue in Jenin, this family is grieving over the loss of a 16-year-old son. Sila says she last saw her brother 2 days ago. That's when he was killed by Israeli fire during a raid in the West Bank, according to his family. Reuters hasn't determined the exact circumstances, but it happened during Israel's massive ongoing military operation targeting militants in the area, the largest in 2 decades. Father Hussam Marshoud says his son was trying to visit an injured friend at the hospital. He says he told him not to go because he had a feeling something would happen. He told his siblings to go watch after him. The United Nations and aid agencies have voiced concern over the scale of this raid by Israeli forces, saying there were restrictions on medical access, including first responders, although Israel says it has given no order to block ambulances. The Red Crescent also says it's evacuated about 3,000 people from the Jenin refugee camp. Several people have been killed and about 100 wounded, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry, but it's not immediately clear how many were militants and how many were civilians. As of Tuesday, Israel said it confirmed every person killed was a combatant. Hamas and the Islamic Jihad said only a handful of their fighters had died. Hamas also claimed responsibility for a car ramming and stabbing attack in the Israeli city Tel Aviv. That, it says, was retaliation for the raid in Jenin.
Well, typically, if there's a fire, the question is somebody inside? How does the structure look like? And where are the sources of the fire, of the heat? So how does the heat distribution look like in the environment? And this is something that we can sense with the fire drone. It has a thermal camera and it has an RGB camera, and could have also other sensors such as oxygen and gas sensors, toxicity sensors and so on, that can then get information on the structure of the environment and the toxicity and the heat distribution, and like this get better situational awareness. So how we have built it is that we use aerogel, so it's a polyamide aerogel, which is something that is extremely lightweight and it has a very high heat resistance, or the heat transfer coefficient is very low, so it is a very good insulator. We have also arranged it in a spherical geometry so that the heat transfer is low, and we have integrated a CO2 cartridge that can cool down the internals of the drone, where also then the motors are located.
Congress needs to step up, pass common sense gun safety laws.
On one of America's biggest holidays, gun control was in focus after a spate of mass shootings over the 4th of July weekend.
Banning assault weapons, high-capacity magazines, extensive background checks, they're part of the answer. They'll make a big difference.
President Joe Biden repeated his calls to tighten gun laws during a speech to educators, as the White House on Tuesday called gun violence an epidemic. Mass shootings in Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Fort Worth claimed the lives of 10 people ahead of the holiday, marking yet another Independence Day marred by violence, and a grim reminder of the decades-long failure to curb gun violence in the United States. Fort Worth's mass shooting happened after a local festival just before midnight on Monday. Earlier in the evening, a man opened fire on apparent strangers in Philadelphia. And on Sunday, a hail of gunfire in Baltimore at an outdoor neighborhood block party, where half of the injured were children. There have been over 340 mass shootings in the U.S. so far in 2023, according to data collected by the Gun Violence Archive. Republican lawmakers have continuously blocked Biden's attempts to significantly reform gun safety laws, and his push to reinstate a ban on assault weapons. All this comes just 1 year after the Highland Park massacre, which hundreds gathered on Tuesday to commemorate. A man fired into an Independence Day parade crowd in the Chicago suburb, killing 7 people and injuring dozens more.
En el 300 a.C., cuando conocen su primer apogeo, ellos ya tenían pues una, no solo planeación urbana bastante compleja, sino también ya tenían solucionado, digamos, de alguna manera todo el sistema de subsistencia para poder sostener a grandes números de población.
Los primeros ocupantes de las tierras bajas estaban mirando lo que estaban haciendo los olmecas y los olmecas mirando lo que estaban haciendo los mayas para hacer cierta competencia cultural.